Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. Well, I was a bit confused by this in the beginning. I heard that they were going to do a season 2 of Monster. Uh, Last year they did Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and it was a huge hit. It got like a billion streaming hours or viewing hours or minutes or whatever. And it was a huge hit. Everyone was talking about it. There was a lot of criticism. Ryan Murphy got a lot of criticism from the families and so forth. They felt exploited. But they announced that they were going to do a second season. I was like, how are you going to do another season about Jeffrey Dahmer? I mean, are you going to focus on more on the lives of the victims? Are you going to focus on the trial? Are you going to focus on his childhood? How are they going to do that? Well, they're not doing that. They're basically going to turn the show into an anthology series, much like American Horror Story, and each year they're going to do, the story of a murderer or a serial killer or a crime of some type. So the second season is going to be Monster, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. Now they've cast the two actors to play Lyle and Eric. Cooper Koch, I don't know, haven't seen him in anything, and Alexander Chavez. I don't know either of them or anything they've done. But yeah, it looks interesting. I'm not surprised they're doing this. Like I couldn't see how they could do a second season, but the way they announced it, it was like they're going to do a second season of Monster, Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm like, how? So this makes perfect sense to sort of do like the fictionalized version, I guess, of How to Catch a Killer. I think was the other Netflix series that was very popular, where that's more of a docu-series. And the value with these is that they can spend time actually looking into the case, because lots of the times these stories just get movies, and sometimes even if they're a good movie like Monster, they can't get into the story. They have to leave a lot out to fit into 2 hours. But if you've got 6 to 8 hours or however many episodes that they have or have in future seasons or whatever, you get time to really get into the case and get into the details. And that's what they did with Jeffrey, and they did a good job of it, because they did get into the stories of the real life people and his victims and so forth. And I felt that they really humanized the victims and Jeffrey as well, and really looked at the story rather than just focusing on the salacious details and sort of making an exploitative sort of movie, which a lot of movies based on real life crime end up like that, partly because they have to just cut it down to the basic elements, because they don't have time to get into the layers of the characters or the motivations or whatever. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't find the Lyle and Eric Menendez story that interesting. Basically, there were some spoiled rich kids who killed their parents. Now, there was some question as to whether their father was abusive. I don't think that actually is why they killed them. I don't think it was self-defense. I think maybe that was an element of it, but I think it was more about the money, and that may have just made it easier, because if he was abusive, that they killed him. But I never bought the self-defense victim sort of defense that they had, and that's why I don't think anyone bought it. That's why they are still in jail, because they were found guilty. But it'll be interesting to see what they do next year, and which series that they do, which stories that they do for the show in the future. And I look forward to a lot of, because they did a good job in the UK with Des, focusing on Dennis Nielsen. So the idea that some of these killers that I've followed and been interested in my whole life will now get a full series, not just a movie or a docu-series, but a live-action fictionalized series. But I think they did a really good job with Monster, and I look forward to them doing that with other people. But I just feel like they went with one of the less interesting cases, but I guess maybe they didn't want to follow on with someone like Ed Gein or John Wayne Gacy or someone, because it would just be a bit, too much of same. So, maybe they might want to try and vary it a bit by having different sort of stories each year, so they're not just doing gay serial killer, gay serial killer, gay serial killer 3 years in a row. But I think they're the most interesting stories, though. Jeffrey Dahmer, Ed Gein, who is questionable what his issues were, but of course John Wayne Gacy, Dennis Nelson, all those people were. Was it Dennis Rader? No, that was the BTK killer. Who was the highway killer who killed all those gay men? I'm drawing a blank, but either way, I hope they all get covered. I hope the show just goes on for years and years and years, like American Horror Story, and we get, the full TV series treatment of each of these stories. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Do you think they exploited these stories? I think the people involved who had family members who were involved, I think they don't really get to say who gets to make make the shows and tell the stories, and they don't really own these stories. And I think their relatives were treated very well and humanized, more so than I think any of the other movies have done, or movies and TV series probably would do. So I don't think that should be a factor. I think the artists should just be free to tell the stories, and the public owns these stories now, and I think we have a right to sort of see them, told. But yep, I'm going to go. Bye.